welcome to Mythic Wrathion. Bloodlust on pull, bring 2 tanks, 4 healers, 14 DPS. Searing Breath, standard dragon stuff, standard tank stuff, a breath of fire and a frontal cone. When you get hit, you take a stacking debuff, you swap it 2 stacks. If the tanks stand 10 yards away from each other in front of the boss, they can taunt swap the boss without even having to move, thereby avoiding getting extra stacks of Creeping Madness. We will get to the Creeping Madness mechanic later. Tail Swipe. Again, a standard dragon etiquette mechanic. Don't be behind a dragon, they have big tails, they'll send you flying. Later is now. Creeping Madness is the big new mythic mechanic. When the fight starts, the boss will put a debuff on everyone in the raid for 2.3 minutes. Every time a player moves, they will accumulate a stack of the debuff, gradually slowing you with each stack. If a player reaches 50 stacks of the debuff, they will basically die instantly. Every time you gain a stack of the debuff, you will refresh the stacking debuff's duration to its 30-second duration. If you go 30 seconds without moving, the stacks will reset. Several classes have abilities that can clear this debuff, and they will be listed briefly on the screen, so pause the video to find your class and see how you can more easily deal with this mechanic. I will put a star next to the abilities that can be used on others if you want to be a helpful person. Gale Blast is a big AoE around Ratheon that shoots fire projectiles towards random players after the cast finishes. If you're melee, move out of the big circle around the boss, and then get ready to dodge the fire. He spawns under you, usually running back towards the boss as you dodge the fire. He does this right before every Burning Cataclysm cast. And on that note, Burning Cataclysm, same as in Heroic. Ratheon will face a direction, turn to smoke, then float over to the corner of the room he's facing. He can go to either of the 2 sides of the room, the back of the room, or the front of the room. Generally, you're safe going to the opposite side he goes to. Being directly across from Ratheon won't always work, so you might have to be slightly to one side. Incineration is a debuff that gets put on 3 random players in your raid in Mythic. When this debuff expires, it does fall off damage to everyone in your raid, so the further you are away, the less damage it deals. Moving far enough away where the damage isn't really a risk here, but you also don't want to move farther than you have to, especially if you're a class that is unable to clear your own debuff, because others might not have a Freedom or Tiger's Lust ready. The Scales of Ratheon. This is the bitch duty mechanic for this fight. On Mythic, Ratheon does this after every 2nd and 4th Burning Cataclysms. It's around 2 minutes 45 seconds into the fight, and if you don't kill Ratheon before the second one, it will take place around the 6-minute 15-second mark. 3 players need to soak scales that spawn around the boss. You want more mobile classes to do the soaking. I will show the classes that excel at this on the screen. After 3 players soak the scales, they need to run through the spikes so that the rest of the raid can kill these spikes. There are also some stealthed adds on this fight. It's usually best for the tank to grab the adds and tank them on top of the spikes. Creeping Madness is not on players during this phase, so you can move around all you want. Each player who soaks a scale will get 10 stacks of Burning Madness, meaning that they can run over 10 shards before the debuff, allowing them to make the shards vulnerable, expires. The hardest part of this phase is making sure that the spikes on the outside of the room don't get neglected and survive the phase, because for each shard left up, players get a stacking debuff for the rest of the encounter. Multi-dot classes shine on getting the outside spikes low, so that when the big AoE in the middle is finished, the spikes on the outside of the room are easy for the rest of the raid to finish off. Thank you so much for watching the video. If the video helped you at all, please drop a like and possibly a sub. It helps so much. Please leave any feedback in the comments, as this video was far from perfect and I want to improve on making these guides to make them as helpful as possible.